Now we are looking at methods that take variable number of arguments. We saw, like up here, there's a method that takes two parameters, the name and quantity. What if we don't know in advance? So there are some examples in the string class, but here it is. We're going to make one. In the H file, define a protocol for it. We're going to call it contains variable arguments. It takes two parameters. One is count, which would be like how many variables, how many arguments I'm going to send in, comma, and a dot dot dot. So that's the magic, a comma and a dot dot dot. If you compare it with the other one, there's a space and then the next parameter. But this, what we're doing is a comma, space, and a three dots. To implement, we come to the .hm file, of course, and same thing here, same signature, we comma dot dot dot. Now we got to do some magic over here to get them out, and I'm going to set a debugger and go into it and see what it does and try to explain that. So this is how you call this. On an instance of customer, which is called my customer, I'm going to call contains variable arguments. The first parameter was how many arguments I'm going to send in, the count, right? And then comma, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arguments I'm sending in. I say I'm going to send him 6, and then this is how you just separate them with a comma. Running this application, stepping into it, basically you have to, there's a built-in va_list function, and you create an instance of that. And I know that I'm going to send them the integer types. It's up to you to figure out what data types of the variable is. So that's up to you. So I know that I'm going to send him integers. So I declare a variable of type int called point. Then I call this function. It takes in the name that I defined up there and how many there are, and it pulls it up from the memory. And then we go through a while loop. We have 6, we know that, and that's why I delayed talking about this topic, because we needed to know the while loop. So I'm gonna go and do a while loop. Every time, instead of going up, you see how it's going down, count -1 when I'm starting from the highest number, 6, and counting it down. And this is how you pull it out. And then number 35, I'm going to spit it out on the log file. So here I'm getting the point, see down there, point, and then I'm going to write it to the log file and decrement the count variable from 6, it became 5, and then fetch point, which is 2 now, and then write it out, and then so on and so forth. So it's going to write all the way up to 6. There you go, we write all the 6 ones up here, and then we call this function to end it, and then we go forward. I'm going to change that just to prove that point. This time I'm going to send in 5 parameters, and I'm going to also change that since I'm sending in 5. And this time we should get 1 to 5. You see we got 1 to 5 up here, right here, from 1 to 5. So that's how you declare methods that take variable number of arguments and use them. The 3 dots, comma, and a 3 dot. To use them, you use a comma and separated values, essentially an array. And then it's up to you. The other important point is, what is the data type of this variable arguments going to be is up to you to detect. Of course, you may have to do it a little bit more complicated. If you expect strings and integers, you're going to have to do some detection and error handling. And I think it would be possible. The homework is to figure out, what if you don't know in advance how many there are? Can you loop through? Do a while true loop? Remember the while true loop, that a while loop with a boolean value that keeps going on and on until we exhaust everything in the list, and then we declare the variable up here. So its visibility is, is more than within the while loop. We declare the variable here. If you look at the previous example, so that would be the homework, to see, without knowing how many there are in advance, how can you use the boolean variable to loop through until everything is retrieved from the list. This is one of the more complicated subjects. If you don't understand, maybe you can come back to it later on and follow it. The while boolean loop and detection might also be complicated, but basically, they are built-in data types. Let me just recap one more time. There's a built-in data type. You declare a variable of that type. Then there's another method. You send in that one to it, and how many there are. It pulls everything out from the stack into the memory, so it's available. And to get each one out, the top one is like a stack. The top one, it'll pull the top one out into from the var list we declared up here. You send in that, and then you say what the data type is. You will know what the data type you are expecting in your function. That's up to you. So that it could be in a string. You are saying, okay, here I got a var list, and it was this function filled it, and here everything is in it, and it's going to be data type pull one out on the top of the stack. It pulls it out and assigns it to the point variable, which is an integer. So integer, I hope you see the connection now. So it pulls the top one off the stack and gives it to you, and then next time, and actually they say pop it off the stack, so it pops it off the stacks, puts it in point, and gets rid of it in the var list. So next time it'll pull the one on the top, which will be now it will be the second one, because the previous time the top one was taken out. And then you gotta call another method, built-in method, va_n, send it the one that was specified over here, so clean the memory out. So basically that's what it is. Thanks for watching.